Well, good afternoon. America's tech sector, as everyone knows, is an enormous driver of prosperity and growth. It is the most profitable part of our economy and a huge generator of jobs. It is as dynamic as it is productive. In just 5 years, the introduction of the iPhone mobile apps has become a $20 billion industry and created nearly 500,000 American jobs. Nearly 800,000 American jobs will be created between the year 2012 and 2016 as a result of 4G deployment. And the wave of innovation that will be unleashed by 4G connectivity, where America continues to lead the world, will spur even greater economic growth. Now, these are exciting times in the tech sector, and it seems like every week there's an innovation, a new website, or a new app that arrives on the scene. These days, more and more of the big ideas are taking flight right here in New York City, I'm happy to say, and that is good certainly for New York and for America, and I think for the world. Today, the tech sector is bigger, more diverse, and more innovative than ever before. Between 2007 and 2010, the number of employees at New York City digital media companies has grown by something like 74%. New York City, you should know, was the only region in the nation to have an increase in venture capital funding to tech companies between 2007 and 2011, more than Boston and more than Silicon Valley. And today, the New York City metro area is number one for job growth in the extremely hot mobile app industry, accounting for almost 10% of app-related jobs as of December 2011. The growth of the tech sector is an important reason why New York City is outpacing the rest of the nation in job growth. Since the beginning of the recession, the United States has gained back 40% of the jobs that were lost, while here in New York City, we've gained back 200%. And this year, we're on pace to create more jobs than in any year since records started being kept back some 50 years ago. Just think about that. It is an amazing statistic, and it's just great for New Yorkers. New York City makes up less than 3% of the U.S. population, but nearly 8% of all job growth has happened here. And like many of those jobs, these are in tech companies that have started. Boxee here, Seamless, Tumblr, Gilt, Foursquare, or that are opening major offices here and expanding their operations like Google and Twitter and Facebook and Yelp. Every day, it's fair to say, brings more good news. For instance, today, the mobile payment company Square announced it will acquire the New York-based design firm 80/20, which means that yet another groundbreaking and fast-growing tech company will have a New York office. Last night, company founder of Square, Jack Dorsey, and I rode a cab equipped with Square technology, and I paid with my credit card, and 30 seconds later, I had text to me a receipt. The driver was happy. The driver pointed out that with this technology, he seems to get bigger tips, so that made it all worthwhile for him. And for the consumer, I cannot tell you just how easy it was. You didn't have to fumble in your wallet. You didn't have to worry about if you didn't have the right change or whatever. It was just you touch a couple of buttons and there it is. And more companies are starting to use Square around this country. It's really quite amazing. No question, the tech sector has been a critical part of our growth, and we're doing everything possible to build on it. For instance, we've established business incubators around the city to help entrepreneurs get their ideas off the ground. We've created a digital map, mappedinNewYork.com, that shows which technology companies are hiring in the city and where, so that we can connect skilled New Yorkers with open jobs and help companies find talent. Now, we started the Venture Fellows program, which connects emerging business leaders with mentors from leading companies and encourages startups to locate and grow their businesses here in New York City. We've set up an entrepreneurial fund to provide tech startups with early-stage capital, and we think that's the first of its kind outside of Silicon Valley. And we're constantly visiting promising startups all over the city to hear their thoughts on what else we could be doing to help them grow. We know from talking to tech leaders that one of their biggest challenges is finding people with the right skills to help their companies succeed. We also know that more and more jobs, not just tech jobs, are requiring computer literacy and tech skills, and that's why we launched the Applied Science Competition, which is bringing world-class science and engineering campuses to our city and which we believe will be a game changer for our economy. We now have groundbreaking partnerships with Cornell, Columbia, NYU, and others, partnerships that will dramatically increase graduate programs in science, engineering, and math. And that's good news for the companies that will be hiring, and it will help foster a culture of innovation and a community of innovation that is at the heart of the tech sector. We expect these campuses to spin up hundreds of companies and create billions of dollars in economic activity, and they'll ensure that world-changing technologies of tomorrow and the businesses that create them will start here in New York City. We've also formed a partnership with IBM to connect high school students more directly with careers in tech, and we recently opened a new high school, the Academy of Software Engineering, dedicated to computer science. And thanks to these efforts and others, New York City is well situated, I think, to be a tech leader for many years to come. But we know that leadership can't be taken for granted. We made that mistake before, and we're not going to make that again here in this city. If we want to keep our competitive advantage, both in New York City and in America, we have to bring together the best ideas from the people who know the industry best. And that's why this morning we convened a summit of some of the nation's top tech leaders for a roundtable conversation called Keeping the Edge. We focused on three core areas. One, infrastructure, everything from building broadband capacity to transportation and access to capital. Two, we focused on education, the things we can do to prepare today's students to be tomorrow's tech leaders, particularly in science and engineering, coding, and computer programming. And three, we focused on innovation, how to create new startups and attract new companies, big and small. It was a vibrant discussion with a group of entrepreneurs, executives, policymakers, investors, and others, and the idea was to share ideas on how to make sure America continues to be a worldwide leader in tech and to share lessons learned from our diverse experiences. Because from East Coast to the West Coast, tech companies are facing similar challenges and opportunities, and we're all in this together. So it's urgent for our country and for the world that we work together to tackle the challenges facing the industry and ensure that America remains the world's leader in tech. Now, unfortunately, not much is being done in Washington to ensure that, but there are things that we can do at the local level to create the best possible conditions for the tech sector to succeed. We know it because we've done it here in New York. And I'm excited to be joined today by some of the people who are helping us lead the charge here in New York City, and I would like to ask some of them to speak. First, our host, Avner Ronen, CEO and co-founder of Boxee, an innovator who is bringing internet content to televisions. Avner?
Thanks. Thank you all for coming, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for coming to our modest office. Today, we had a brief brainstorming session, which I thought was great. We talked about the things that the city could do to help bring more tech companies to New York. New York is already having, as the mayor mentioned, a lot of success in the tech sector, not just in what would be traditional New York tech, not just trying to make advertising better, but actual devices like MakerBot, 3D printers, Kickstarter, which is changing the way businesses get funded, Boxee, which we're doing our best to change television, and doing it in New York is probably the best place in the world to do that. We have also an office in Tel Aviv, so probably we're located in two of the best cities in the world. And now that the Technion is also coming to New York, thanks to the mayor, probably we'll have more Israelis. So we're excited about that and very thankful, and we hope we can be part of the success of New York City. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. And next, Eric Schmidt. He is Executive Chairman of Google.
Well, thank you, Mayor. In order to believe in the future of America, you have to believe in innovation. And when you study innovation now, you understand that innovation occurs in cities, and it's highly likely to occur in cities which have just the right combination of things. You have to have money, you have to have the right people, you have to have reason for people to come here. But perhaps most important, you have to have a committed leader, in this case in the form of the mayor, who's willing to make it happen. And if you look over the last few years, what we've seen over and over again is a commitment to make New York City a viable alternative to Silicon Valley and a place where true innovation occurs for the global good. Most recently, last night and this morning, the mayor sponsored a lengthy conversation about the barriers and issues that are facing the creation of all these new companies. What I will tell you, speaking as a representative of a company that made a decision a long time ago to invest in New York City, and we now have more than 3,000 people here, and we're continuing to invest, grow, and buy companies here for the foreseeable future. This is going to be a phenomenal growth story for New York for the next decades to come. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your leadership.
Eric, thank you. And next, Alexa Hirschfield.
Thank you very much. I'm a co-founder of Paperless Post, and we seek to redefine the tradition of stationary and personal communication. And we have always been based in New York. And I was asking people this afternoon to give me their perspective at work on why they're in a tech company in New York. And the tech company part's really obvious because it's the fastest growing sector in the U.S. economy and it's most profitable. And New York is pretty obvious too. So when you look at them separately, it's the 8 million people. It's the most diverse city, I think, in terms of languages in the world. People speak 800 different languages here and 176 in the public schools. And when you're building a company, it's really important to be in a place where you can hire people because they want to be in this, they want to be in the city that you're in, but also that you can hire people who have a lot of different perspectives and come from different places and contribute their ideas. And we've been able to hire a team that's 50-50 male and female and incredibly culturally diverse. And so that's been, I think, a really important part of our success. And another thing that we try to do is redefine a tradition that's existed for a long time. So our new office is going to be in a printing press, in a former printing press. And we obviously are completely changing, hope to change the way that people order paper. And we've also been able to use the design community in New York to partner with existing stationers and designers to bring their work online. So not to wipe out what's happened in the past, but to bring along a tradition that has existed for centuries and also for a very long time in New York City into the future. So New York makes a lot of sense for